Hello everyone, welcome to this Oh So Spurs special. Today I'm joined by Tottenham's youngest ever goal scorer who's also won Euros at under 16 and under 19s level. It's Alfie Devine. Alfie, how are you?
I'm good, thanks mate. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Next to him is a 17-year-old centre-back sensation who's maybe more known for scoring at the moment than he is for defending. It's the Croatian centre-back Luka Vuskovic. Luka, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. You?
I'm fine, thanks. Let's get going.
Welcome to Oh So Spurs. Calling all Spurs fans from the South Stand, the Shelf, Sydney, Seattle, Seoul and everywhere in between. It's Oh So Spurs.
Obviously, the last few weeks haven't really gone to plan for Westerlo. Like the results have maybe died down a bit. It's kind of similar to what's happening at Tottenham actually, because they started the season quite well and it kind of went downhill. Do you guys follow what's going on in England as well? How much do you follow it? Is there something maybe Alfie you'd like to say about that? About how much contact you might as well have met with the club?
In terms of that, obviously I still speak to all my friends there that are still playing there, and obviously quite a few of them have been involved around the first team at the moment and stuff like that. It's not really in any of our places to ask what's going on. It's sort of like you can sort of see from the outside, and everyone's going to have the different point of view on it. But then in terms of us with contact, Andy Scolding, one of the people at Tottenham's always in contact with us. He's been to a few games already, so even though he's still unknown, it's good because you still feel like you're part of it as well, without being there. So he's been over quite a few times, and then he texts after most games pretty much to both of us, I'm pretty sure. So that part's good.
Yeah, they really try and keep you close to the club, I think. Is that something for you, Alfie? Obviously, you were on the brinks of the first team this year, maybe breaking in, and now you've seen a lot of guys get injured, maybe a lot of your mates as well get game time. Is that something which stings a bit that you're not right now at Tottenham to maybe be a part of the squad?
I think everyone's journey is sort of a bit different. I think that you sort of need that luck in football sometimes, where I've come here and I've played minutes that I wanted to play when I came here, so I don't have any complaints or anything about coming here or any things in my head going, oh, this would happen if I stayed, or would this happen if I stayed, because you can't really do that. It's sort of gone. But I think looking at it, like I said before, when I'm looking back and seeing all my mates getting opportunities and getting game time, it's obviously good for me to see, because they're younger than me. Mikey's 17. But obviously I've been around him quite a lot, same with Will as well, and then when I see that them two are getting game time, it's, for me, that's a good thing as well. But I don't look back and sort of regret or have doubts or think, oh, what could have happened, because that's not really what you should do. So yeah, I have no complaints.
No, of course, I totally understand that. I think it's also very important to note for both of you guys that you're starting almost every game, that you guys are making a lot of minutes in the Belgian Pro League, which does have a good reputation in regards to players who have played in Belgium often do go on to make a good career in England, for example. I think there is a lot of correlation between that. So I think that's in a way is a very good thing. Maybe it's better to almost play every game in Belgium than to be sat on the bench or in reserves and play 5 to 10 minutes elsewhere. I think it's also, looking at you, Luka, you're obviously quite unknown, more unknown than Alfie, at least to the Tottenham fans, and they'll often see your goals, especially your bicycle kick against Club Brugge. Can you talk us a bit about that goal? Is that something we can expect for you to do in England as well, or was it a one-time occurrence?
I hope so, but I think it was one-time deal. I hope so. I score one like that again. But when I scored, the feeling was amazing, especially because that goalkeeper was on the goal against that team, against those players that play a few days ago against City. It was very special feeling.
Yeah, of course, I get that as well. As well, like of course, in goal was Simon Mignolet. He played at Liverpool. He's a very big name to do that. He came over to you after the game and said something. What did he tell you?
Yeah, he said good luck in your career, and it was a very nice goal, and that's it.
For you as well, you've scored quite a few times with your head as well. Is that's something which doesn't happen that often, especially at that age, for someone to be that aerially good? Is that something which you train a lot, or is it just natural?
I think it's natural, and I think it's mostly because of my physique, because I'm a lot taller, and I practiced it a lot when I was a kid. I mean, I'm still a kid, but you know.
Yeah. Not almost in a few months. You're not anymore. I think next month.
But still, I think it's natural, you know.
Yeah, of course. As I touched upon in the intro, Alfie, you're at this moment in time still the youngest goal scorer ever for Tottenham. Can you talk us through that day away at Marine, which I think for you was a special one you'll certainly remember, but as well, without the fans, the stadium, what was that like?
Yeah, I think it was a very weird period, you know, because it's very, very rare that a team like Tottenham will play a team like Marine. Obviously, no disrespect to them. But obviously them sort of stuff is very rare in football, and I think then it's even more rare when you have no fans and all of that stuff. Obviously that was my first I did pre-season with them that year, but apart from that, that was sort of my first proper experience with the first team. And obviously, like I said before, no disrespect to Marine, but when the draw got made and when I found out that I was going to be on the bench, you sort of have in your mind that you're hopeful that you're going to get on. I didn't expect to get on at half time, to be honest. I think when we went inside and then he just asked me, do you want to come on? And obviously I was like, yeah. But I think there were still nerves and everything like that. Of course there will be. And I think it was sort of a good thing that the goal came quite early, because that sort of settled a lot of the nerves when obviously you first go on. But it's one of them things that I'll never forget because, you know, so yeah, it's definitely my best memory in football so far.
It's obviously something very unique to score at your debut as well, but doing it like at a pitch like that, obviously it will stick by. And as well, with Mourinho backing you up, he was quite fond of you. He also said that during his press conferences. Do you maybe have contact with him still, or are there ex-managers you keep in contact with?
No, I don't think. Since obviously he left, I've obviously had no contact with him. But I think my time with him there, then I can't complain about anything to do with how we work with the young boys, because I think before that people for some reason had a reputation of him that he doesn't really like playing young players and all that. But I think anyone that was at Tottenham that was around my age at the time, or maybe even a little bit older, I'm sure would say the same thing, that he was brilliant with us, and he got to a point where you felt like he was part of what he was like wanting to do, and you're not really just a young player going up there for numbers.
Something which was a rumour during Conte's time. Can you tell us a bit about that, or would you rather not, then we'll cut it out?
No, I think obviously every manager, I've spoken on this before, I think every manager works differently. Like every manager, the training's different, the way they want to play different, the way how they go about it is different. Because when Conte was there, I was still around there quite a lot. I was on the bench a few times. I came on in a game when he was when he was a manager as well. So it's just a case of a lot of people try and compare managers just because it's at the same club, but you know, every manager is very different, and you know, he's won a lot of stuff and he's been a very successful manager. So obviously, he's not gonna change. And for me, it's sort of looking back and think that I can say I've worked with Conte, I've worked with Mourinho. It's for me, it's brilliant.
Of course, you'll always learn a lot from as well different characters, which will always help. I mean, something which a lot of people might not know is that Luka is actually also youngest goal scorer at the club. That's at his boyhood club, Hajduk Split, which was when he was only 16 years and 5 days. So 5 days after he was eligible to play. It wasn't his debut because 3 days prior he played Dinamo Zagreb. Can you tell me how a 16-year-old handles that pressure? Because obviously you know you're going to be playing. what was that like for you? Maybe with your family or friends in the crowd as well.
For me, it was not pressure because I had top teammates. I had a few top teammates that helped me a lot. And the goal that I scored was definitely my favorite. I like it more than this bicycle game. Yeah. And
I mean, I think that's what Alfie also said. Your first goal will always stay with you. That's something you'll always cherish. That's a moment you'll always find special.
yeah, especially because it's my favorite club, you know. It's my boyhood club also.
Yeah, that helps. Boyhood. Speaking of boyhood clubs, Alfie, your boyhood club, if I'm not mistaken, was Wigan, where you grew up as well. Tottenham poached you from them when they went into administration. Can you tell me a bit about how that went? Were there other candidates as well? How did that go? That process?
Yeah, again, it was another weird time because that's when sort of COVID first came about, and I was technically still in school when all of that was going on, and I think COVID hitting obviously took Wigan into administration, and if you look where they are now, they've done brilliant to sort of get out of it. Yeah, 100%. And in that time, I wanted to stay. I signed a contract there, and then they went into administration, and I think you've seen it a lot with all the first team players and stuff, that I know that the club didn't want to sell all of the young players that they did, but they sort of had no choice. And I think that the way I look at it is that hopefully that it's a credit to the club and the academy that they was managed to sell players to sort of, I wouldn't say save them, but I mean, you know, have a little part to play in it, and that's obviously a credit to them. And then it was sort of like a weird period for me, obviously, because it's a weird period for everyone, but I think
a lot of uncertainty around inside the club as well, yeah.
And then when Tottenham came about, obviously I was only 15 at the time, so I couldn't really make that decision on my own. I had to obviously speak with my parents and everything like that, and they played a massive part in sort of advising me on what to do, because it was sort of in the matter of 2 weeks I sort of did have to make a decision. And when you're 15, you don't really, you can't really prepare yourself to go and make a decision like that. But then I went down once to look at Tottenham, look around the facilities, and obviously, in my opinion, it's the best that I've been to or I've seen. And then they told me everything about the club, about the reason why they want me and all of this. And then it was sort of a no-brainer after that. I think a few days after, then I went down and signed.
Yeah. I feel like it all escalated very quickly as well. It was like, obviously, that's something which a lot of people now say as well, but the first team transfers of Tottenham, that they kind of do it under the radar and then want it to go very quickly. I think for you as well, Alfie, it was a difficult period. Obviously, you're still a teenager as well, but then going through something which you're not really preparing yourself for, as you said, as you said yourself, you signed a pro deal there. You're thinking like, okay, this is maybe the place I want to make my debut as well. So obviously it will have a toll on you. Is that something you can say, for example, the Wigan Academy, which is also quite renowned, versus like Tottenham's or a top 6 academy? Is there a lot of difference, or?
I think, of course, there's going to be differences in terms of, like, you already know Tottenham will have more stuff that they can spend, or they can get the players that they want to get in and everything. But I think at both sort of academies, you've seen how many players are homegrown, either if they come and play a few games for the first team, or then they come and then they sell them on to somewhere, and then they've made a good career out of that. I think both academies have got that. I think there was no sort of difference in terms of, like, I wouldn't say coaching, but obviously when you go to Tottenham, you know, the level will be better, obviously, than it will be at Wigan.
Maybe the facilities as well.
Yeah, of course.
As you said.
Yeah, of course. But I think at that time, for Wigan, in that moment in time, it was, in my opinion, the best in that sort of league and in that area. And you've seen that you have Joe Gelhardt, who's at Leeds on loan at Hull now. Jensen's just gone back to Wigan. He went to Brighton. So they had these players in the academy that, in my opinion, would probably in the same boat as me. They didn't want to leave at that time. But obviously then they had to. And it's, like I said, it's a credit to Wigan at that moment in time that the coaching staff and the way they run the academy they was able to do that.
Yeah, obviously. Luka, for you, when you signed your Tottenham contract, you went over to London as well. You saw the training facilities. Was that something, like Alfie has said, that you went like, wow, this is amazing. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I never seen that even in the movies, you know. It's like space shuttle, you know. Really, everything from the camp, from the fields, everything. Top.
Are you looking forward to it this summer to join up and yeah? And what's maybe one thing you're looking to do next year? Is it make your Premier League debut? Does it go beyond that? What are your goals for next season?
I'm not sure. Now I'm focused here on this season. And I hope this season makes as best as possible. So we'll see what's for the other season.
Okay, thank you. Alfie, for you, you went onto the Asian tour this summer. Obviously, I think that I've never been on one, but it seems like when you go out there, you do bond as a group as well. Whom were the people you'd spent most time with when you were out in Asia, South Korea and stuff?
I think naturally, obviously, you just spend it with, there was quite a few academy players there as well and people that I've been with in the academy for a while. So you do naturally just spend it, the time with them. But I think Tottenham as a group in the first team were all really close, especially recently. And I think it's obviously a credit to those players as well that makes it easier for us young players to go on those tours and feel comfortable. And they all make us as part of the group.
Because I feel like, obviously, watching from an outside, Maddison is one of those who really takes a fond of the young guys. When after the Europa League game against AZ Alkmaar, he called Mikey Neymar for 20 minutes. So is he one of those who really, from the more experienced heads, tries to guide the academy boys, or are there other guys as well who does it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's definitely one of them. But I think there's a lot of people. When I first came up, it was more. I've said this quite a few times, like Ben Davies, Son, when I was first there, and I think now it's pretty much the whole group. There's no one that you would feel uncomfortable going to speak to or anything like that. It's pretty much the whole group.
I think it's also a big part of football nowadays that they do screen a lot of the guys coming into the club so that they really can form a cohesive group, that it's a real good group. I think like that's also a massive part in having that. Yeah, perform on the pitch. You should be able to go around, be friends also as well. Maybe just for you as well, Alfie, what do you see your Tottenham future like? Because obviously you still got 2 years worth of contract. Would you like to, tell me about it maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the same as what Luka said. I don't really like thinking about the future or what's going to happen. You sort of take everything that as it comes, and I think the most important thing is what's going on here and playing here and everything like that. And then you sort of go into them pre-season with just a fresh start and a fresh sort of mind, and then you just take everything as it comes. Whatever happens then will happen, and yeah.
Okay, thanks. Look at one last thing. Actually, for both of you guys, both of you have sleeve tattoos. Is there a special meaning behind the tattoo, or is it just because you like the look of it?
I really like tattoos, but most of my tattoos have meaning for my family, friends, girlfriend, everything, you know.
You really think it's very important to have the people around you that they really understand what you are going through and that you take them on your journey with you.
Yeah, of course. For me, that's one of the most important things.
Okay. And Alfie, for you, is there a special meaning behind the tattoo?
I'm the same. I just like them. I think everything on this hand, this arm, not really. And then I've just got my mum and dad's date of birth on each neck. But apart from that, I just like them, to be honest.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. I've got a few more questions from viewers or members they'd like to ask both of you, so I'll ask them. And then we'll stop. Thank you.
When did you score your goal?
What age?
Yeah.
16 and a half.
16
and that was the youngest in Tottenham, huh? I didn't know that.
Okay. For both of you, what sort of footballer did you look up to as a child? Did you think, I want to become him? You, Luka?
When I was a kid, I watched Ronaldo every day. But now,
That's why the bicycle keep going.
but now I have a few others.
Okay. Can you tell me who?
One is my brother, second one is Livaya from Hajduk, and the third one is still Ronaldo.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And Alfie, for you?
Growing up, I was a Liverpool fan, so it was Steven Gerrard for me. Definitely.
I think you could say the position you play at the moment kind of does resemble that, as you're not really an attacking midfielder, but you kind of drop deep now, but do have an involvement in goals as well. So I think there is a resemblance.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. He's always been, ever since I got into the games when I was younger, it's always been him.
Then one other member asked who would win in a foot race between you two. If you'd have to run the whole pitch, who would win between you two?
Him.
Alfie.
I think it'd be closer than you think, because I don't even think, I'm that fast over long distance. Yeah. Short distance, I'm okay, but
Yeah, if you I mean, Luka obviously has very long legs, so when he gets going, he might catch up very quickly. You know.
that's what I mean, yeah.
Then one which I also found very interesting, which was how much can you decide as a player in your own loan move? For example, you, Luka, you went to Radom Radowiak in Poland and now here to Westerlo in Belgium. Is that decided by Tottenham, or have you got a lot to say about it?
They gave me an option, and I agree whatever they told me. They gave me a few options before for Poland. They gave me a few options here for Belgium, and I asked them what's the best, what they think is the best, and that's it.
Yeah, obviously they have a lot of options to screen as well, to go through what's the best for the player as well. So I think that's it. And for you, Alfie, obviously last year you spent time on loan at Port Vale, and then you got a recall, went to Plymouth. Is that a club decision, or is that something which you decided yourself, like maybe it's time to step up a division?
No, listen, when obviously because I worked with the Plymouth manager at England for quite a few years, and then when I got the call saying that he said that he wants me to come here, when I spoke to the club, they said, listen, if you don't want to go, you don't have to go. You can stay. Or they said, if you want to go, you can stay. I mean, when we talked about it, obviously me and the club both agreed that it was a good move. And I've always said that at the time, I wouldn't have gone if it wasn't the right move. But I think for me at that time, it was the right move, considering I knew the manager. It was a step up as well. Mm-hmm.
Is there a lot of difference between League One and Championship, you would say? Yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously there's always going to be differences between leagues. I think there is definitely a difference between, in my personal opinion, the League One and the Championship. Again, it probably just depends what team you're in and stuff like that, and what club you're at.
Okay. I've got two more questions. One of them is for you, Luka. How much do you watch football? And if so, if not, what do you spend your free time on here in Belgium?
Here in Belgium, now in Champions League, I watch Champions League. Before, I didn't watch football that much. But
it's more like a job, more like a hobby, but not in real
when
interest.
it got serious, I watch it a little bit more. But in my free time, I don't know, nothing, television.
Yeah, you just watch a series or something like that. Yeah. And for you, Alfie, do you follow it closely, or is it more like a job?
I've always watched football. I think I watch a lot more EFL games like League One or Championship than I do Premier League, definitely.
Because of more the grassroots type of guy, maybe?
I just think that when I've played in it, I enjoy watching it and stuff, and if there's a chance where I can watch one of the teams I've been at, then I'll watch them, yeah.
Okay, and then maybe the last thing, which is, do both of you guys have a footballing dream? Like, what would have to happen in your career to say, okay, I'm happy with what I've done, I've made it? For myself, when I used to play it, it would be like going pro. Obviously, that's for you guys, that's happened. But is there something you say like, okay, I want to win the World Cup or whatever?
I don't know. for me is to have a good career and to finish my football life in Hajduk.
Okay. So you want to make the full circle and get back home, and maybe score the last goal as the oldest player for Hajduk. Then you become the youngest and the oldest.
Yeah.
And for you, Alfie?
Yeah, I'm the same, to be honest. I think just at the end of it, that like you can say like I've had a good career and stuff like that. Like I have sort of no regrets in the career that you've had.
Thanks a lot, guys, for making time. We'd also obviously like to thank Westerlo again for the opportunity. And I'd like to wish you both best of luck this season. Hopefully you stay in the league, and hopefully I'll see you next year at Tottenham. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.